Last week, the former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, testified during a public impeachment inquiry hearing against President Trump. After her testimony, the phrase, "I hired Donald Trump to fire people like Yovanovitch," popped up on a number of Twitter accounts. Now, BuzzFeed News reports that Twitter is cracking down on accounts that have tweeted the phrase. According to BuzzFeed News, many of the accounts may have been run by bots.
Analysis show that more than 7,000 tweets, including retweets with the phrase, were posted in the first 45 minutes. BuzzFeed's analysis also showed that 83 accounts tweeted or retweeted the phrase more than 10 times each. A spokesperson for Twitter told BuzzFeed it did not find evidence of bot activity amplifying the phrase. CNET senior producer Dan Patterson joins us now to talk more about this. So, Dan, BuzzFeed deemed these tweets at the rate that they were being shared as suspicious. What kind of methodology did they use to analyze these tweets?
Yeah, so the key metric here is that in 45 minutes, there were about 7,000 tweets posted by what they call sock puppet or bot accounts. Now, a sock puppet account is kind of jargon that refers to your fake account, right? So you have your real account, but you might also troll people using a made-up account. So this short period of time and the volume of tweets, when we look at analytical tools like Bot Sentinel, it allows us to see the connection between all of those accounts. So I don't know that BuzzFeed used Bot Sentinel, but it's very easy for us to use that account, and you can at home as well. And you can see, yep, indeed, there were Twitter accounts linked to each other and, in fact, or cross-promoting each other and pushing that hashtag up. Mm-hmm. The purpose of that is not so much to show that, hey, an account with maybe 10 or 200 followers is participating in propaganda. What it does is allow the hashtag to trend, which then allows millions of users to see something that is clearly designed as inauthentic.
Mm-hmm.
We interviewed Andrew Marantz from The New Yorker, who wrote a new book, Antisocial Online Extremist Techno-Utopians, Hijacking of the American Conversation. He described to me in a later interview that I did with him that he was in a suburban home somewhere in America with a regular suburban family and somebody who was very active online, and he got online on Periscope with a bunch of like-minded individuals. This was around the 2016 election, and they decided what hashtag to use to attack Hillary Clinton. They all agreed on what it was. They started tweeting it en masse, and then other people picked it up, other bots picked it up, and next thing you know, it's gone mainstream.
Yeah, we call these influence operations, right? And often state actors, like in this case, likely Russia, we don't have proof, but likely Russia, because this follows all of their hallmarks. Russia, Iran, North Korea, and sometimes China are now getting into the game, in large part because they saw how effective Russia was in 2016, Vlad, using those exact same tactics.
Yeah, so Vlad, you're describing something that's completely sort of homegrown, but there are also, indications that we've seen before that it could be sort of spurred on by outside actors, which makes it even more sinister, if you will. When it comes to the 2020 election, what have you seen so far in terms of misinformation?
So over the summer, again, using Bot Sentinel, as well as a number of other accounts that let us use or analyze the forensics, we mean like the actual data that connects accounts, we saw some kind of disturbing hashtags related to Andrew Yang. We saw hashtags related to Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders. And in fact, when I speak to sources who are deep inside the Democratic establishment, they say, hey, look, as individuals, we don't really take a stance on these people. However, we see coordinated, inauthentic activity regarding these people. And when we did our own investigations, we were able to find on sites like Stormfront, the white nationalist site run out of Ukraine, that they were funding these using cryptocurrency and in fact taking credit for the three of those people making the next debate, particularly Tulsi Gabbard.
Wow.
Wow. All right, so Twitter recently introduced a new policy on political advertising. I want to talk a little bit about that. What can you tell us?
Yeah. So a few weeks ago, Twitter said blanket, no political ads. Now we have reporting on CBS News where they've said, hey, look, we might have to kind of adjust the nuances to define what political means. So they still are not allowing political ads from politicians, but they are allowing some issue ads, particularly related to climate change, abortion, and gun control. So Twitter is saying this is nuanced and we'll have to refine how we perceive or how we define what politics means, which is still a lot more clear than what Facebook is saying, which it's my job to cover this, and I still have no idea
Really?
what they're trying to say.
But I think it's very telling because Facebook took a lot of heat when Twitter was able to come out and say no more political ads. But now we're realizing, oh, it's not so simple because what an ad is now is not so clearly defined. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure, you can say it came from a campaign, so we're not going to accept any campaign money. But now we know that when it comes to social media, you don't have to have an organized campaign, you know,
or
sending out a
even
message.
Be involved in United States politics.
Right.
You could be outside of the U.S., which we see all of these actors getting in the game, and buy legitimate ads. So
why can't these American companies ban ads coming from foreign players?
That, Vlad, is the million-dollar question. They can look at the IP addresses. They can see where money is coming from. They can see the behavior and where certain accounts that are purchasing ads are coming from. Heck, they can even see the credit cards. So, Vlad, I'd like to know. I've asked these companies a number of times, and the policies keep on shifting. So I think that we will continue to have this discussion throughout the campaign. I highly doubt we'll get clear answers.
Didn't Facebook say that, you know, the next time around after the 2016 election, they were going to try to verify addresses? They were going to require you to send something, you know, indicating that you actually were from the U.S. if you wanted to purchase ad space?
They have said a number of things. In fact, they've created a database of political advertising, which helps us at least look at, okay, the president is spending money in this region, he's using these keywords to target people. That's fairly useful. However, it is kind of opaque, and pulling the data from their API and matching it with other data sets is still somewhat challenging.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Dan, thank you so much for always providing that clarity. We appreciate it.
Good to see you.